Have you ever thought to yourself, I've applied all the 12 principles of animation on my shots, but then something's not quite there. What else do I need to improve or add to make my shot better? Reference. And what do I mean by reference? Reference basically recording yourself performing or acting the performance of what you want your character to do. Not only gives you small nuances in terms of performance, but also gives you a grounded reference to block out, animate, spline polish your character with the correct poses. So for example, if you were to just go into Maya and start animating your character, yeah, you'll start moving things around and you'll get to a point where your character's looking nice and, it's readable what's happening. But some of your poses might be off. What I mean by that is the center of gravity of your character might be slightly off. Your poses are based on what you think that pose looks like rather than what it really is. Whereas if you had reference to accompany you with that, you would essentially be recreating the pose from the reference, which is the correct pose. And then now you can build upon what you've created and push that pose. So if you wanted something a bit more cartoony or a bit more pushed, stylized, you can now push that pose based on what you've taken from the reference. So it helps your pose get grounded in reality. And it's like a blueprint to a building, to be honest. It's like you've got the blueprints to a property or a building rather than just going straight ahead and start laying bricks. So that's kind of how I see it. And who uses reference? Well, all animators. From game cinematics to gameplay to feature level animators to VFX, commercials, TV, you name it. Everyone uses that reference. So you could go from hyper-realistic reference. So if you're in visual effects, you might be using cats, dogs, bats, birds, whatever it may be. So your supervisor or the client will want to see reference because you need to ground your, especially in visual effects, reference is very, very necessary. So you want to be as close as you can to the reference in visual effects, which might not be the same case in feature animation where you're doing performance. In this, you use the reference as a starting point, depending on the type of show you're working on. So if it's a hyper-realistic show where you've got subtle human acting, then yeah, you might want to be much more closer to the reference. But then if it's a more cartoony pose or a show, sorry, then what you'll eventually end up doing is you will probably take the poses, start to push them a little bit, stylize a bit more. So you're now just using the reference as a starting point, like the building blocks to your shot. So yeah, and like I said, all animators use this in the industry. It's a great way to push and level up your animation. For example, the difference between just going in there animating your shot compared to doing reference, not only would that level up your shot in terms of posing, having good body mechanics, but it's also going to help you see small nuanced stuff that you wouldn't have noticed before. So for example, if I was to maybe, if I'm a character and he or she is going to pick up the phone to answer a phone call, you'd probably like, if you went straight in and that's your brief, you might have kept it quite simple without any reference. Just gone in there, had a pose with reaching down, grabbing the phone, going there and saying hello or something along these lines. Whereas if you were to record yourself a few times and get into character, because let's not forget, guys, whether you're stop motion, 2D, 3D, whatever theme or like a format of animator you are, you're still an animator, meaning you're a actor or an actress, just digital. So it's all about performance. And you recording yourself in front of a camera helps you get into the essence, the soul, and personality of that character you're trying to portray. So this also gives you a chance to record yourself, go back and review your recording, and really objectively look at your recording and say, okay, now I'm looking at myself in screen time. Is my character believable? Does he or she feel like they've received a phone call, let's say in this case, that is a disappointing and overwhelming, a happy phone call? Is my reaction corresponding to what they need to be feeling? So sometimes what we're animating to what we're seeing is completely different. In your mind, it might be working completely well, which is great if you've already if that's how you see it, which is amazing. But it's always nice to put yourself in the seat of the director as well. Like, be very constructive and objective with your recordings. So go there, record yourself acting the personality and the emotions of your character. And then once you go back and review it, you can say, oh, actually, I can push this a bit more. And you go back in again and record yourself a few times. And this just helps you get these out the way real quick. And you're able to think of each recording, which takes about 10 to 20 seconds, depending on your shot, as a blocking. A blocking takes us like a whole week, maybe, depending on how long the shot is. But you could just do a reference very quickly and get like 5, 6, 10, 20 blockings out in maybe 10, 20 minutes. And it's real quick to get ideas out of the way. And once you have the correct emotion, correct beat, performances that you like, all the hard work is done. You've not spent a whole week blocking out a shot that you then turn around and say, you know, I'm not quite satisfied with this. It's kind of all right, but the poses aren't quite there. And I've spent a lot of time working on this. So you see what I mean, guys? It can be a lot of work, and we want to utilize our time as efficiently as possible. So my advice would be just like to get in front of the camera. So you have your brief, you know what you want, you've picked your audio for your dialogue or your performance shot, whatever it may be, and just start recording yourself to the point where you feel really comfortable. And once you've done a couple recordings, go back, observe your recording, and don't be afraid to go back and change your performance or tweak your performance, whatever it is you want to get out, because this is the time to do it, because you're efficient. You're effectively doing blocking with every recording you do. So get those out your system and like really fine tune very quickly to the point where you spend maybe half a day doing this, which is going to save you weeks of time, you know, like just blocking, because you know now what you want. You've got it all down in a reference. And you're going to be seeing stuff when you record yourself compared to jumping into Maya directly that you wouldn't have thought of, because you're naturally now picking up the phone. Oh, yeah, I did this and blah, blah, blah. And just, you might do this sometimes, like gesture away from the phone, depending on what you're doing. Or even when the phone rings, you might just look at it and go, you know, if it's a phone call you don't want to pick up, or if it's a phone call you do want to pick up, you might be a bit more excited, or you might raise your eyebrows. These are things that you won't notice until you record yourself. So these are like small nuanced things that you'll add into your shot that'll be, you know, it will show that you've got reference and there's more depth to your shot and your performance than just moving your character. So just moving your character compared to having reference and having a lot of personality and small nuances makes your character feel just that much more believable, rather than, you know, looking at a puppet that's moving, that kind of stuff, to, oh, this is John or Samantha or Steve or whoever it may be. You're no longer looking at as like when we look at Woody from Toy Story, we don't think, oh, that ragdoll cowboy. We think that's Woody or that's Buzz. We don't think that's that puppet moving like this. You know, it's because of the way he moves, behaves, and his personality. And all those guys at DreamWorks, Disney, Pixar, they're all using references. And sometimes in studios, the supervisor or the director will just want to see your reference. Before you even start blocking, they will say, this is the dialogue, the character's feeling these emotions. Like I said, I gave you that scenario with a phone call, or it might be something else, like she turns her head from left to right, she hears something, she hears her partner or her son, daughter calling, but she's just had a long day. And you, the director or supervisor, will just want to see your reference of that emotional head turn, whatever it may be. And you'll do a few variations, and yeah, you'll take it from there onwards. You might get feedback to tweak it a little bit, but the moral of the story is reference puts you in the position of being the actor completely in front of the camera, and it allows you to capture and portray the emotions and feeling and beats of that sequence and shot. So yeah, hopefully guys you found that really useful, because reference is key. No matter what you're doing, do shoot reference of yourself, and you can always pull back on the reference or push further. So yeah, cool. Hopefully you found that useful, guys, and yeah, let me know in the comments if you found it helpful. If yeah, I'll do more of these videos. Please like, subscribe, I'll put out more videos and content like this if you like it. Thank you very much.